Hi everybody and welcome back. Ace of Pyrite and XR Troika with you again for the second map, which is going to be Bank between MnM and Vexed. What are we expecting here, X?
A double hard breach ban coming out from either side there. We're going to see both Hibana and Thermite removed. That tells me that Bank is going to play out very differently today indeed. That's going to make your downstairs defense that much more powerful, as there's going to be no hatches that can be opened, albeit we will still have Maverick. So Maverick does have the option to use his blowtorch, but it is a slow process and it only will get you, I think, 1 or 2 hatches at most.
And you can get killed on the reverse of it as well.
It's just very risky.
And especially with both hard breaches gone, because you're going to be watching the hatches, because that's the option for breaching then is Maverick. And if those holes get used in reverse and Mirror comes through the banning phase as well, with Vigil being taken out, so now bottom floor is looking pretty serious in terms of a site to defend.
Do we say at this point that MnM have won the operator ban phase because they're starting out on defense? Is this going to be, you know, sort of 5 or even 6 rounds to the defense? I mean, it doesn't matter which side is going on defense, just based off the pure fact of the bans. It favours the defenders in that early stage, so it's going to be very, very difficult indeed for Vexed to try and deal with this. They are, of course, going to bring that Maverick, and it will, you know, will be the main focus, I guess, to try and get anything open that they possibly can. Mirror being brought through from Nello as well, as you do comment, it is available, which isn't something that you see often at all. Absolutely
no surprise to see the Mirror being brought. As we said, that is going to make Lockers a very, very difficult prospect indeed. Pulse also able to sit in Gold Vault and just feed back that information potentially on the locations of anybody coming down the blue stairs. Let's look at the map overall. You know, looking back to map number 1 on Coastline, I think it was largely a story of MnM taking better control of the map overall and doing more with that control. Vexed, whilst they got themselves into good areas, as you commented, X, just seem to have a lack of a next step in mind. So that's something that they're going to have to think about here. It's not just about getting into the map, but it's also about what they do next. MnM, we saw a very good roam game coming out from Citizen in particular. Dorky had his moments out on the roam as well, got quite a few kills from site itself as well. So again, they're going to have to shut down the MnM roam game here on Bank. You've got 3 staircases up and down, or at least 2.5 with the round staircase only partially covering the top 2 floors. What, you know, really I think it's about Vex getting in, getting control of those top 2 floors and then seeing if they can work from the hatches with Maverick here.
We can see from the way that the roam game is coming out, or the lack of roam game from MnM, they're not actually going to be committing anybody to top floor, and I don't believe they're committing anybody to middle. And with 2 hard breacher bans, you've got little need to, because there's no point putting yourself out there in that position. If you go up there, you risk losing your gunfights, losing your engagements. Stay in sight where it's safe, and you've got the hatches to protect you. Maverick isn't going to be able to do all too much in terms of opening stuff up. Yep, he will get 1 or 2, especially with there being no pressure. He is going to have all the time in the world to do so, but it's not something that you're going to be able to really mount a full attack onto Lockers from.
It's not, so we come to the 2-minute phase. We've got slow progress so far from the attackers. They are in the servers. They do have control of that area, but we've got Dorky going to be challenged there, but he will win that engagement with a headshot onto Feral. Shots pounding into Dorky's body there, but just not enough to take him out before he manages to get the headshot. We will see Maverick just looking to open up that wall where you would have the default plant spot. Pi getting that kill onto the already damaged Dorky, but Feral being off the board. We are now 4 versus 4. We can see that Zach has managed with the Maverick to open up a crouch hole whereby he can get through to potentially plant in that default spot, but the problem there is the movement is somewhat restricted, so getting in there is going to be dangerous, especially if things like C4s start getting tossed by Nello, and the smokes coming out as well is going to make that equally difficult.
And losing Feral so early, you lose your own ability to smoke off the site, so the MnM players have got all the information that they need. We can see Citizen on the heartbeat scanner. You can see 3 attackers stacking up over inside a server. Nello primed, ready. He knows all he's got to do is get the call from Citizen that the plant is coming down. Dumpling is sat watching main stairs as well for the flank watch. Very important location. Another toxic bait does get tossed out, but it is a little bit short, and it will allow Vex to plant the diffuser. Zach is going to look to get this down now. Pi picking one up on to save. Citizen trading it straight back out. The diffuser has been planted despite the deniability that is left on the side of MnM. We've got plenty of C4s to boot. Zach is going to find one onto Kendrew. All of a sudden, it's looking pretty good for Vex. Dumpling still holding the flank upstairs. He's going to be very important to make sure that he keeps that. But I don't believe any players on MnM are going to actually be able to push. No, the trade won't come through, and Nello will be left in a 1 versus 2 as Zach does manage to find Citizen. Dumpling now going to look to rotate and support his teammate, but Zach, with the Maverick hole pre-made, finds Nello around the Vex desperately needed for the momentum shift, but around that on paper it didn't look like they were going to get based off the way that the site was set up.
Yeah, around that, as you say, looked like it was going to be a very big ask for Vexed, but they put that Maverick to good work, got themselves a hole big enough to crouch and get through for the diffuser plant, so showing that no hard breach, or at least direct hard breach options, is not necessarily too much of a problem. We really expected that site to be more difficult to attack, but Vexed made that look reasonably easier. They did a very good job of it. Very good job indeed.
It's such a shame that the players on MnM were dying with C4s in the pocket, because that's what you're going to really be looking to deny the plant. The smoke placement just wasn't quite right for, you know, making sure you're cutting off that area of effects with the toxic bay canister, and I just don't feel like it should have really gone that way. It really looked as though it was going to go to the side of MnM, and I can't help but think they're going to be sat there thinking we need to change things up, and they have done. We've got Doki on mirror this time, which isn't something that we often see, but Kendrew has also brought the Yokai drones on Echo, which is going to provide them some information. Maestro not being available, no use of bulletproof cameras or evil eyes inside of the site. They could place a bulletproof down there. The lack of rotation on it is going to make things a little bit tricky, and it is very easily dealt with the soft destruction on the side of Vex. But I like the Yokai pick because it's going to enable that deniability and that constant feed of information as to when the plant is coming.
I think the thing that MnM were missing in that last round was a roam game. I know we commented that there was no real reason for them to do that without the hard breach, but I think what they've just probably learnt there quite quickly is that whilst it was difficult to use Maverick, or at least more difficult than normal to use Maverick to create that normal plant situation, given 3 minutes to do it, made it a lot more viable for Vexed. So having no roam game to clear out made that possible. So I think this time we could just do with seeing a little bit more sort of roam presence from MnM. It doesn't look like we've got too much at the minute. We've got saves on that sort of main staircase, the one that runs down just next to Garage. He's going to be challenged by Zach, so he's going to know that the Maverick is there, and Zach's going to need to be careful here, because the last round that they won hinged on the Maverick being able to open that default plant spot, and if he moves down and challenges saves here and loses out, that really does put them in a sticky situation, and it allows saves then to rotate potentially underneath Skylight onto blue stairs and to start picking up flank kills as well. So Zach definitely needs to be careful there.
I'm unsure why Zach isn't actually down in the servers already, because that's going to be his prime location to be opening things up. He is actually going to make that rotate now after just having a little bit of a dance with saves on the main stairs. I think before he managed to do that, he did actually manage to take out one of Kendrew's Yokai drones, which is going to be a big loss of information. You're going to lose 50% there of the cameras. Only one more in play if it is still available, if it hasn't already been located by the side of Vex. This wall being left soft this time, is that a bit of an oversight? Because the last kill actually came through a reinforced wall. Or is that something that MnM are looking at and saying, look, we're going to leave it soft this time because there's maybe more opportunity to peek through it from our perspective, as opposed to just being a single murder hole. The wall will be opened by Zach again in the same fashion, and I'm sure that the Yokai drone there is going to be calling out his location. A much slower take this time from Vex. They've left themselves less time to execute and to try and bait this utility out. And with Nello on the smoke this time, you know that those smoke canisters are going to hit the mark.
They don't have the kills that they had last time either. Doki with a great double kill, 2 headshots onto Zach and Feral, just showing the real deadliness of that Vector. Such a high fire rate that if you can get operators lining up in that fashion, then you really can blitz through them, and it is a bit of a headshot machine. So that will now leave us very quickly 5 versus 3 in favour of MnM Gaming, and I think a better defence, but just a more patient approach from Vex. They don't seem to have had the same urgency that they had last time, and I think that's what helped them, whereas MnM have definitely set up for this. Saves getting one of his own, Citizen finishing things off with a kill onto Pi, and that will be round number 2 going in favour of MnM, and that will leave us 1 apiece, and much more what we expected to see from a Lockers server hold with no major hard breach available.
Yeah, maybe coming off the back of a short break, MnM just maybe needed a round to focus themselves, because I think round number 2, the round we just saw, is, you know, like you say, much more as to how we were expecting that first round to go. But what a great job of adapting and reading into how the push was going to come through, going back to the same bomb site. I love the Kendry picking the Echo. It really changed the entire round because that Yokai drone and all the information that it was able to provide just made all the difference when the push started to come through. This round, however, we are going to be looking at CEO, and he's going to opt for Rook. So a lot of presence on the repels and stuff, I think, there, and looking maybe to get a couple of picks out over onto Garage, perhaps.
I think part of the difference there as well was in the first round, it feels a bit like MnM wanted to play a turtle defence, but I know Dorky was out there in CCTV and lost his life from there, and then somebody else pushed out into and they were sort of trying to push those boundaries as far as they could to challenge for those kills, rather than sort of staying true turtle, keeping themselves behind and able to use and utilise that utility. Whereas on that one, you saw Dorky switching onto the mirror. Everybody just played a lot deeper inside. There was nobody pushing out into CCTV, and it was probably just the difference maker there was just keeping themselves alive late round. But good things from Vexed so far. Certainly that first round was promising for them. I think just the repetition of the same thing, you know, gave MnM a little bit of an out there because they knew exactly what to expect. But that being said, that is no criticism of Vexed because, you know, what real option did they have?
Looking on to round number 3 now, Vexed are faced with a very similar problem in that typically you would look to open the CEO walls that look into square stairs. Now, Maverick, being the only option for any sort of hard destruction, is going to be the only operator able to perform that task, and it's going to be very difficult for him. That's something that, as a Hibana, you would often open from the skylight. As a Thermite, you'd be able to make a large hole in either side of them once a little bit of top floor control had been gained. You don't really need all too much. Your main focus will be downstairs. Saves manages to find himself down straight away as a quick 2 kills. 3 kills come out for Vexed as they just push straight through Janitors. Kendru is able to find one and a second, trading blow for blow here. The diffuser will be on the floor in the middle of the site, and all Kendru's got to do is try and watch this diffuse. They have got a man disadvantage. We are in a 3 versus 2 in favour of Vexed, but I don't think that MnM are going to look to give up their lives all so easily, especially with the diffuser being on the floor. Kendru finds another onto a Lonely Pie, making his way through main lobby, and that's going to make the job a heck of a lot easier. Holding an angle now on into conference room, and he's just going to be waiting for anybody to look to push through. I think it's going to be the IQ of Jesus that he's going to find first. Shots come through, doesn't manage to land anything. Nello is on the flank as well. The diffuser will be recovered by the attackers. Kendru finds another, but gets traded out by Jesus, going for the ace there, but not quite managing it. Jesus now in a 1 versus 1 versus Nello. Jesus does have the diffuser, but I'm sure that there'll be some information onto where he is located in the site as the plant does start to come through. Now impact grenade through, and Nello is in a great position. He's actually forced Jesus to get off the plant as well. It was so close to being down. If Jesus had just committed to that, he was planting in a very, very safe spot. Now he's going to be left with taking the engagement. He doesn't know where Nello is, and Nello finds that kill.
Great plays from Nello, and I was going to comment there. I think it's something that I said back on Coastline. If I could pick any of the MnM team to have there, it would have been Nello in that situation. He really is great at controlling the site when he's down in those 1 versus 1, 1 versus 2 situations. His awareness of the site is very, very good. So great plays from Nello there just to save that one for his team. Back to 2-1. Couple of quick flurries of kills. I liked Vex's start there. They got in very quickly. Good couple of, well, 3 good kills to really fire the round up, and found themselves 5 versus 2 very quickly, but just couldn't really capitalise on it. And I think ultimately we're seeing that that is probably because of the hard breaches, because it's making things not less strategic, but it just means you're having to attack from default angles instead of being able to open up your own.
And you're just brute forcing through bottlenecks at this point. You know, you're going through doorways or soft walls that can be destroyed, and it's just not an effective way to push. We saw it did see some early success with Vexed. They were able to pick up 2 quick kills, but when they're getting traded instantly straight back out, and then you lose the control of the diffuser, all of a sudden it's now down to Vexed to try and recover that diffuser and get the kills. And all MnM have got to do is make sure that they focus on keeping an eye on where that diffuser is and make sure they stay alive and win their engagements, which they did very well. We are going to be going downstairs to an archive tellers hold now, and I do believe we are going to see the blitz. Not seen the blitz yet today. Jesus there opting to bring the blitz. Will that be the differentiating factor? Because when you're pushing through bottlenecks, who better than a shield that can flash people?
Yep, and it's worth noting we don't have the Legion on the MnM side, so we do have Smoke able to push back that Blitz and possibly just deny a little bit of access, but you would really be looking for those goo mines in that situation just to make his path difficult, but they haven't opted to go for one. So I think you're right, it's going to largely come down to how Jesus can utilise this shielding utility and how best he can use it just to clear out some of those MnM players. We've got two playing up on the top floor. We've got Kendrew and Saves up there for MnM rather, and they will be looking to hold that top floor for as long as possible. We do have a sledge on the board. We also have Pi with those destructive grenades. There's a fear gun, so certainly options to get this floor opened up and get some vertical angles into sight. But that being said, Kendrew has been a demon so far on the ACOG, and they are going to have to move him first.
And especially with the mirror window looking on into Janitors there, it is a very powerful position indeed. But Feral is going to be the one that opens things up with a headshot over onto Saves. And Kendrew's just left with nowhere to go. The sledge comes through, but it's going to be Feral that gets the kill. Pi finding one of his own as well. All of a sudden, this is looking like a great round for Vex. 5v2 within the first minute and 10 seconds of the round. Nello and Citizen will be the two remaining defenders. Okay, so we've got Citizen on Pulse. He's going to have the heartbeat sensor and a C4, which he is going to look to use there. Not sure if it is going to find anybody. Just misses. Does knock out the barricade and put a challenge out onto Zach. MnM need to get an early kill here if they are going to look to try and clutch this round out, but Citizen doesn't manage to land his shots. Bit of a ring around the rosy, and Citizen will find the kill with the pistol. That makes it a 2 versus 4, so it is a little bit more doable now, but Vex just need to slow down. They've got a lot of time to work with now. They can open up all of this floor and look to get a pick on into the site, as there's not going to be very many safe places once that floor does start to open up and Pulse no longer has a nitro cell.
4 versus 2 in favour of Vex now, and the pressure really mounting. Nello will put a challenge into that Blitz. Can he do anything with his shotgun? Citizen does get one to bring it 2 versus 3, but the power of the Blitz on display there as Jesus gets the kill onto Nello. Any other operator, and I think Nello gets the kill first of all there with that shotgun, but Citizen coming in with the Pulse. He will get the down, but it just won't be enough as he steps out to move round and make another challenge, and Pi finishes things off with the diffuser down already. So great plays there from Vexed. What about that early clear? I think we've got to talk about that, X. That is what really won that round for them. Getting Kendrew and Saves killed from upstairs within the first 20-30 seconds, and it was just absolutely brutal.
Feral on a tear with the Jackal there, just making sure that he was able to pick up the kills. He had a lot of good distractions from his team as well. I think it was Dumpling on the sledge, just opening up that soft wall right next to Kendrew, forcing him to move around, and the kill came through very easily indeed. But a very effective and very quick top floor roam clear, which, as we've commented on multiple times, it gives you the time later on in the round to be able to isolate those remaining defenders and execute onto site, especially when you're dealing with a destructible floor and you're going to be able to find those angles on in. It looked like it could have been doable at one moment for MnM. I think if Citizen hits his nitro cell shot, he did get the kill onto the Maverick. All of a sudden, if they can try and isolate that Blitz and work together, it could have gone a little bit differently. But the Blitz came in really clutch. Nello just was very unable to deal with it. It is a difficult operator to deal with, especially in those sort of close quarter engagements.
Like I said, I think any other operator there pushing past the teller's desk and Nello gets the kill. He came out, I'm pretty sure they would have been headshots. He came out with his SMG and absolutely peppered the Blitz shield, but it just is ineffective because there's a shield in front of his face. So yeah, great pick from Jesus there, and that just enabled them to close out that round, because with 2 on site there, especially Citizen and Nello, it's certainly no easy task necessarily to get in there and get the diffuser down. So well played from Vex there. I'd like to see more of that. I really want to see Vex make a game of this now and get themselves back into it. They're keeping themselves toe-to-toe here on Bank again, and they've got the defensive phase to come yet, so hopefully, you know, Vex can really put a challenge up.
It seems like the way that's something that's working very well for Vex currently is being aggressive and is pushing in on early, but Saves there. Feral not working off any information whatsoever. He'll sprint head on into Saves bullets, and he will find a kill for his troubles on main stairs. He's now able to rotate down, and that's a big fragging operator taken off the board. And of course, the smoke grenades that could aid in the plant as well. Dumpling now is going to start looking for this kill over on Saves, but he does have the diffuser in his pocket, and he isn't going to want to lose it in a silly situation. Zach there, sorry, just opening up the floor of the hatch. He's going to put a couple of holes in, and that's going to allow some peek holes and maybe throw some utility down on into the site, possibly some flash grenades or maybe even a Zephyr charge or some frag grenades maybe. There's plenty of throwables on the side of Vex available. The wall will be getting open now in the default location. And I don't think MnM have really got a way of dealing with this. They're just sort of accepting that this is going to happen now. They're 50-50 down here, and there's no real reason to worry all too much that the wall is going to be getting opened. It's all going to be about the utility economy now, and how Nello is able to spread out his toxic bay canisters, and how the 2 C4s on the side of MnM are going to be able to be used.
4 versus 5 coming into the last minute and a half, and as we can see there with the silhouettes ahead of us, MnM certainly playing that turtle defense again on this site that we saw from them successfully in the second round. They did struggle in the first one and lost that one out, but I think they'll be fairly confident in doing the same again. That said, the push is coming a little bit quicker this time, and I think we were down about 15-20 seconds ahead of this last time when Vexed were in a position to start thinking about getting the diffuser down, but it has been dropped just inside a site. I don't know whether that's purposeful or not, but it may well be that they were just outside of the threshold when they tried to go for the plant there. Jesus will start planting, the smoke canister comes out, and that will just push him out of there, but that's quite fine. That's what he's looking to do, is just bait out that utility. But does he know that Citizen is just hanging around behind the desk waiting with that C4? Out comes the last of those toxic babe canisters, so that is now going to probably offer the confidence for Vexed to move in and go for that plant, but Citizen is on hand waiting for the C4 toss. Looks like one of the Vexed players will move across, but Nello could get a very, very important kill onto Pi. Citizen will miss with the C4, but he's still in a position to challenge as he moves around. He'll get one down, he goes for the kill, finishes it, he's looking for the second onto Maverick. What a shot with the pistol onto the head, and Saves finishes things off on the rear staircase with a kill onto Dumpling. How about those plays from Citizen?
What has that guy had for breakfast this morning? He's been hitting deagle shots all day, but unbelievable skill there. Getting a couple of nice kills with Valkyrie to close that round out. Played it perfectly as well with the C4, pre-ripping it, and then army crawling into the site, so that there was no indication for the players on Vex that there could be a C4 coming their way, and they were able to clutch out that round. We can see there, kills per round, 1.3 as a season average, so doing very well for himself in the kills department. Moving now on to round number 6. It's going to be the last round as the sides currently sit. After this round we will of course switch over, and it will be Vex's turn to show us what they've got on the defense, and MnM's turn to show us what they've got on their attack. 3-2 at the moment. Never more than a couple of rounds separating these two teams.
Absolutely no surprise looking at that last round. You know, we go from a great take from Vexed on Tellers with a brilliant top floor clear, getting blitz into sight, and just absolutely wiped MnM on that round, and then they move on and MnM bring it back and do the same in reverse. They really are going toe-to-toe here, and it is brilliant entertainment to watch if nothing else. So Saves, I think, just a little bit slow to get himself going today. We commented on that on Coastline. He seems to just be struggling a little bit still. He's picked up a couple of kills the last few rounds, and he's a bit of a sleeper operator at the minute, so he's on 4 there for the game. Sort of middle ground, not too bad, but he's one of them we know that he's a fragger and he can really go off, and if he can find his confidence and start running, it's somebody like that who could be the difference.
He did struggle in Coastline. I think he went 1-9 on Coastline, but he's currently, you know, sitting at 3. He's out fragging Doki, so you can't really ask for much more than that from your Jaeger player. And the winning rounds to boot as well, so we'll have to see how he fares when they do move on to the attack. I imagine that we're going to see a very similar push now come through from Vex. There's not a great deal that they're going to be able to do in terms of opening up CEO wall, looking onto square stairs. There's going to be no real, you know, it's going to be very difficult to get enough control to be able to sit there and use Maverick to open that on up. I would have much liked to see Vex bring in the blitz again for this push, because I think that push through janitors and conference room or meeting room could be really, really effective with a blitz being used in conjunction with that, because as we've said, you are pushing through bottlenecks, and you are going to be able to, you know, try and isolate those defenders and try and stun them, and then have guns shooting over the shoulder. Feral is going to get view onto Saves, repelling on the window. Saves, come on, jump out. Just jump out and try and get the kill at this stage. I think that's going to be...
That's going to be your confidence.
Give yourself a little bit of confidence.
That's going to be the one.
That'd be something that we'd like to see. Citizen does find another onto Jesus, gets traded out straight away by Pi. Saves, just jump out at this stage. You can't find the angle onto Feral. We've got a down player in the site as well. It is going to be Nello. Saves, rightly so, will rotate back off that and try and aid his team in getting this Nello revived.
I think it's fair to say Saves has probably made the sensible decision there rather than jumping out, especially with Nello being down in sight. He doesn't want to leave the site empty. But we are currently 4 versus 3 coming into the last 1 minute 30. We've got Feral causing a real nuisance of himself, putting the smoke grenade in from those north windows as well. The challengers keep coming out onto him, and Saves will get the kill there without jumping out. So he keeps himself safe inside. Zach will finish Nello off. He was already largely out of the picture there, so that brings us 3 versus 3 coming into this final minute. And MnM are looking reasonably good here. They've got some good utility with the mirrors. Saves getting another kill onto Zach, and just as I was saying before this round, if a player like that, Saves, can start getting a kill or two and bring his confidence level up, he could be a real danger for the rest of the round. There we go, Doki moving out with a shotgun to get the kill onto Dumpling in the corridor, and all of a sudden Pi finds himself very, very lonely. 1 versus 3, and outside of the map he's going to get himself onto those north windows and see if there's any challenge that he can make. He does have a little bit of time on his side, but not an awful lot considering he needs to get into the site as well. 30 seconds to go, and Pi will move inside of the map by running over the roof and more than likely through stock. If I had to make a guess, that's certainly where he's moving towards, but he's going to have to do something. 20 seconds remaining, and he really needs to be thinking about how he's going to get into this build. I'm starting to wonder if he's just using this opportunity to sort of burn the round, get on the comms with his team and just settle things down and talk about what they're going to do in the next round, and that's why they're utilising the most of that clock. He moves in, and Kendrew with that mirror utility finds it easy to just bob out and pick up the headshot, which we'll get a fantastic view of there.
Yep, smart play from Pi there. If you've got some time left in the round, 30, 40 seconds, and you are in that kind of a position where there's such well-established defenders on in the site, it's not a bad idea to just talk to your team and say, right, let's slow things down. We're moving now onto our defense. What are we going to be able to change? MnM were able to pick up 4 rounds on their defensive phase. If Vexed are able to do the same, we could start to see a real game here, because as we've seen so far and as we predicted, and I mean, everybody at home can see with the way that the bans have gone, Bank is defender-sided today.
It certainly looks that way. We are 4-2 now in favour of MnM, moving into round number 7. Vex, they're going to be keen, as you say, with the certainly playing out defender-sided today. They're going to be keen to come in and get a good couple of rounds on the board now. I can see looking through, they've only had one occasion where they managed to string rounds back to back, and they're going to look to improve that, I'm sure.
Moving on now into round number 7, and we're seeing a fairly similar setup come out from Vexed, although no mirror. When mirror is available, mirror ought to be played, especially if you're going to be defending downstairs. We saw just how powerful it was for MnM and what they were able to do with it. It just gives you a perfect window to peek from, especially for your smoke, especially for any C4 operators that are going to look to deny the plant, because I imagine that MnM are going to try and push in a very similar way as to the way that Vex push, because there's not really that many options in terms of what they're able to open up and how they're able to execute onto this site. Maybe a little bit of an oversight there from Vex not bringing the mirror.
Like you say, the problem here is if you do use the Maverick on the hatches, you basically leave yourself no option to get into site other than single doors and funnels. You can drop obviously the elevator side and look to move into B and get a plant inside of there, but that would be extremely rare and for good reason. So we're going to see some early drone in progress from MnM, as we would expect. They are very good at getting in and gathering that information so that they can look to challenge any roamers. Pi is going to be holding quite an important location here with the Ella. He is on the iron sights, but he's going to be looking to hold these stairs for as long as possible. You can see with the amount of utility he's been granted there. One of his Ella mines on the wall, 2 ADSs, barbed wire shield. That is some real importance being placed on these blue stairs from Vexed, and that is because that's where they had all their success from, was mounting the attack down those blue stairs and then burning in through the server wall into site. We can see already 3 of MnM moving in here. I'm pretty sure they're aware of the presence of Pi, but they know that there's nothing they can do immediately. They need to be looking at getting either some flash or smoke or something in there, but with those ADSs, that's going to be very difficult. So you see here the process of burning those ADSs, but I don't know if they are aware there's 2 present, so 6 utility items will be burned. Here comes in a nade opportunity. They have cleared out the barbed wire. This is great progress, and what a nade kill from Doki to clear Pi off the stairs without losing a single man. Great plays from MnM to start opening up the access to this site.
It took them quite a bit of time and quite a lot of utility, but they did get the job done in the end. I did think it was going to be Nello that saw the success as he rotated out and went down the tunnel and then looked to push his way through, but rightly so, tried to save his life. 2 quick kills get traded back and forth. Zach taking out saves, but Nello grabbing it straight back. I think that hatch is open now, and we are going to see Kendry rotate off. He's still got a couple of blowtorches remaining, and he's maybe going to look to open up a couple of holes in some of the hatches to try and deny this Vexed ability to be able to, you know, try and delay this plant with any smoke canisters that they may have. Although Zach is in fact dead at this point, so we've only got 1 C4 in the hands of Dumpling currently. 45 seconds left on the clock. Doki's going to go in and burn the Elamine as he just tries to body check it. There's not a lot else that they're going to be able to do with it. Citizen finds one onto Feral, traded straight back by Dumpling, so trades coming through thick and fast. Jesus grabbing another. That is going to stick us into a 2 versus 2. Don't believe he's got any yokai drones left available. He is just going to be left holding an angle, but it's going to be Kendry that peeks through and finds that headshot. What a fantastic kill there for Kendry, really opening up the opportunity now for MnM to try and clutch out this round. 15 seconds left. Dumpling left inside of red corridor. He has got a C4. He has just been droned, so he is going to be a little bit distracted. Not sure if Kendry is going to try and stick the plant while Doki protects him. No, Kendry will get taken out by Dumpling, and Dumpling is now just able to rotate out of the site. Doki's got to go for the kill in this circumstance, but cannot find him. Dumpling doing the right thing, running away and saving his life. Round there for Vexed.
Barbed wire really helping Dumpling there. You could see Doki trying to move through the site quicker so that he could make that challenge, but the barbed wire just slowed him down to the point where he could barely make it to that single door. So good defense there from Vexed. It really wasn't clear which way that was going to go. There was a lot of time burnt by the Ela on blue stairs. It was a very strong defense of it, and you know, you can't fault that. He did exactly what he wanted to do. It wasn't even important that he didn't pick up any kills. It was all about the time, as we saw the clock running out there at the end. Great kill from Kendry, to be fair, to get that get that attack moving, but then an equally good kill coming back onto him to trade him and take him off the board. So that's going to leave us heading into round number 8 now. 4-3, still in favour of MnM Gaming, but this is a close one, make no mistake. Vexed have got another good site to defend here. As we commented earlier, without the hard breaches, we've seen some very good defences of this site. So I think, you know, we could be looking at Vexed tying this up late in the game.
It's really got the potential to do it. I mean, all day we've seen these teams trading rounds back and forth. It was only MnM when they got on their defensive phase on Coastline when they really started to chain rounds together and get rounds on the bounce. But they're so far within Bank, it's been fairly defender-sided. And as we've switched the tides, it really is painting that picture, like you say, 4-3 in favour of MnM. They've not got very many rounds left now. They've only got 1 round to almost to play with, if you will, until this is going to be a level playing field. And Vex could very easily run away with this in the rounds to come. It's all going to be about how MnM are able to get an opening on into the site. How are they going to remove that player that's playing a hard angle on in the site, protected by the hard walls? What are they going to be able to do to root those defenders out? Because there's no real, as we've seen so far, there's no real need to roam all too heavily because your site is so well protected.
Yeah, we haven't seen this site successfully attacked as of yet. MnM defended it twice and did successfully so. Feral and Dumpling moving in early on that aggressive attack first time, if you remember, and they did have a lot of success with that, because I don't think MnM expected to see them so close into sight so quickly. But I don't think that's something that MnM are going to try and emulate here, although we do have saves moving very quickly up the spiral staircase. Is he going to get a view onto anybody? He does know there's somebody in the elevators, but he won't be able to pick Feral up as he manages to make the challenge, and he's also the Maverick that they've lost there, so that is a big early kill for Feral. And as the Doc, he will just juice himself and teammates back up so that he lives to fight another day. He will take that nade damage, but he will not be down. Doki moves in, Nello with a kill as well, but he will then get the TK onto Doki, and that leaves us very swiftly in a 3 versus 3 with pressure mounting rapidly onto the site. Nello will be hit with a goo mine, and that will slow that aggression and progress into sight that they had. Kendry on the Ash, no surprises there. Really been hitting his shots, so give him the great gun and let him go. MnM with some good control here. They've got, it looks like they've got Vexed pinned pretty much back into sight now, although we do see Dumpling on a rotate coming across the bottom floor by the looks of things, so he's going to be moving up those skylight stairs now. Worth mentioning is the hit points across the Vex team. We've only got Jesus on full hit points, but he is on the Echo. Coming into a minute left, Nello gets a kill, 3-2.
Citizen challenging now onto Dumpling at the top of square stairs. As you've commented on, Dumpling probably 1 or 2 shots at best at this moment in time. Citizen will put those 2 shots in, and it's all down to Jesus now in a 1 versus 3 situation. He's going to have a very tough job if he's going to look to try and clutch out this round. He peeks round, he's going to catch the diffuser as Kendrew, I think, pulling out a goo mine there, and that's going to be the diffuser down on site. He gets a sight onto Citizen as well, draws for the pistol, but Citizen isn't going to miss that shot and finds the head onto Jesus. It could have been so different that round. It really could have been. That unfortunate TK, it just really sort of halted all the progress, but MnM did a great job of recomposing themselves, and the comms were obviously very clear at that moment in time to say, slow down, there's only 2 on site, 1's rotating, let's try and execute onto that. It could have been absolutely dire.
Citizen really taking leaps for his team here, 11 and 5, doing extremely well. He's had a good couple of kills across the last few rounds, but you're exactly right there, X. The challenge from Feral out of the elevator was a good one, but it left him with nowhere to go really, and they dealt with the dock very well. Dorky and Nello moving up and working as a pair to do that, but as you said, they then got very unlucky with the team kill coming in, which I think that round would have been over much quicker had that not happened, because I think at that point, off the top of my head, I think they were 4 versus 2 potentially there, and that man advantage then, you know, really does become telling. But we will be heading back up to CEO. Not too much of a surprise. It was a good effort from Vexed. I don't think they were a million miles away. There are things that they can do differently there, I'm sure, but they definitely have something to work with there.
I'm not sure why Dumpling was making the rotation all the way through the basement in that scenario. I think had he been placed over inside of Archives maybe, and there was some sort of information for him to work off on into the site, we could have been looking at a nice C4 kill there from Dumpling, because I think he died with a C4 in his hand, and that's not really something you want to be looking toward for your Valkyrie. Really, if you're going to be taking it, you really need to be using it. It's a very good and effective way of getting a nice kill onto the attackers. So if he's going to try and roam again, and he's going to try and play downstairs and maybe provide the information for his team on the cams, it'd be good if he could you know, do that from a floor above this time, do it from ground floor level, as it would be maybe a little bit more effective, or maybe even take the pulse if they're convinced that the top floor roam clear is going to come through so effectively. Feral was trying to find some early success there onto Garage, but didn't manage to land any of his shots, as we've got 2 players, Doki and Citizen, both repelled on the north windows. Kendrew poised outside of square stairs, ready to look to take control over square stairs and Janitor, and Citizen, he's on a tear, he's finding another onto the Echo no less. Doki following it up with one of his own. 5 versus 3 now. As I say that, Zach is going to grab that one onto Kendrew, so no Maverick. It wasn't much of a factor last round for MnM. They didn't actually use the Maverick all too much, but what about that kill from Nello? Just finding the head of Zach. Beautifully placed pre-fire there onto the corner of the door. 4-2 now. Nearly 2 minutes left on the clock.
Dorky not always known for his window play, but doing very well there in conjunction with Citizen to get a couple cleared out of sight. And I think what MnM have done very well there is mix things up. Dorky moving in now and getting a pistol kill onto Feral, leaving us 1 versus 4 with Pi on the rough end of that deal. He is in sight, but this is going to be extremely difficult. That's 1 down, so that will be 1 versus 3. He'll move out to finish the kill, but Dorky has his teammate covered and will get the final kill onto Pi. Another round going in favour of MnM, and just back to what I was saying there, I think what they did so well there was they completely changed their attack. So the first time they attacked CEO, they rushed up the spiral stairs, they attacked from that angle from main lobby. They didn't put anybody on the windows, so the windows weren't in Vexed mines whatsoever. So this time Citizen and Dorky, 2 of the absolute gunners so far this match, 12 and 9 there, get themselves up on there and get a couple of kills quite quickly and quite easily, because they just weren't being watched at all.
Especially when you put Doki on the Ash, it's an operator that he is very good at playing, and you know, he's making it work, he's doing the business with it. We didn't see him on Ash all too much on Coastline, maybe on roles like Sledge, but maybe attacking on CEO, no reason why you shouldn't put him on the Ash, because there's a lot of value in that indeed. We are going to be, he's going to move off onto the Sledge, perfect. We are going to look to go down to a Lockers CCTV for this match point on Bank. MnM, of course, taking map number 1, which was on Coastline. They took that very convincingly 7-3. And we could see the same scoreline again, as we are on match point. We are defending downstairs for Vex, which is somewhere that they have been successful in defending previously. Basically due to the way that the bans have played out and the way that you've funneled in And I think it all came down to the way that Blue Stairs was held, but we're not actually seeing the Ela coming out this time from Vexed, which is a bit of a shame because they burnt, I think, over a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to say that they won't play somebody on Blue Stairs. At this point, you're right, it doesn't look like they're going to. Pi is up there. I think it was Pi that was playing there last time as the Ela as well. But it depends if they've got the same utility available for him. They had a deployable shield there, which Echo does have an option for, but I'm not sure if they do have it placed up there or not. I'm sure we'll see as the round progresses. But yeah, they did hold on to Blue Stairs so well last time, and it just wasted so much of the time. MnM did a good job of clearing it out, don't get me wrong, but it just took, through no fault of their own, a little bit too long to do it.
And it's not just the time, it's the utility loss as well. It was so many stun grenades that went in, so many all the frag grenades that went in to try and clear that out. It might be a case that Vexed are looking, look, we can't be doing the same thing round after round against these guys because they're getting very good at adapting on the fly and, you know, reading into what we're doing and figuring out how they're going to make pushes onto it. So it could be a little bit of that playing into it. Currently we've got Pi playing downstairs in server. He's going to challenge on to Doki. He doesn't even realise he's there. Doki's going to find the headshot. Zach trades it out straight away as the smoke, but you don't really want your smoke taking on these kind of engagements. He's going to get himself into another. He's pulled the shotgun out, which is the superior weapon in these close quarters, and it appears as though the attacker is just going to back off ever so slightly. Toxic Bay canister is going to come out, and that's going to cut off the early push there that we did see from MnM. Kendry going to rotate back up the stairs. Zach with a shotgun kill. That's going to be diffuser down as well. So a very good early exchange there from Vex, coming off the better in that scenario. Citizen still struggling to get the hatch open, although it does look as though he's just put one line in it, and he is looking for any sort of line of sight he can find onto any defenders that could be in there. Nello now backing him up inside of the tunnel, saves, crouch walking down the stairs. Jesus will grab that one, and that's going to be another death for MnM, leaving us in a 4 versus 3.
Vexed certainly not ready to go home just yet. They are staking a real claim in this round. I like what they've done. Like you said, they know they can't do the same thing round after round, so instead of playing heavy on Blue Stairs, they put 2 in servers instead. And the smoke coming through, Zach doing some great work and getting a couple of kills there, using that shotgun, as you say, perfectly in the circumstances. However, Citizen does manage to get downstairs as the Maverick now. The hatch is open, so potentially there could be some support from Nello, but Nello has moved down into servers as well, and it looks like the wall is going to be open. Citizen has the diffuser and is aware of somebody rotating upstairs, but maybe not sure where, but he is going to be challenged from cafeteria potentially, but they will hold back. But that is going to be in the back of the MnM players' minds, and I really think that Vexed are in an excellent position to be winning this. But how about that for a challenge from Citizen? No surprise given how we've seen him playing, but he will be taken out by Dumpling. That leaves Nello in a 1 versus 2 situation, and he is pinched. We've got 1 operator on site, 1 at the top of Blue Stairs. He is going to move for that challenge. 20 seconds, so he does have time. He gets the first kill. That's a headshot for Nello. He's going to move to challenge site. Can he grasp this and get MnM through to the final here at the Premiership right here and now? No, he can't! Dumpling goes prone, gets the kill with the pulse. What a round from Vexed.
A round that could have gone either way. Dumpling there, great game sense, great patience to know that Nello would have to push for that kill, and he was just very perfectly placed to be able to take it. Vexed are going to stave off MnM from completing that match point for another round, but they've still got a lot of work to do. That round could have gone multiple different ways. It really could have gone toward the side of MnM. I particularly like the heads-up play from Citizen there. I think the defenders in the site were expecting him to plant, and as he you know, got himself crouched through the hole that the Maverick him as Maverick had made, they were expecting him to plant. He didn't plant. He pushed through the site and got a kill and got information on the next person, and it just very crucial in that moment of time. Not something that you're going to be expecting as Vex in that scenario, and I think that was the real breakaway point of that round, and it's what gave MnM a flurry of hope there. But as you can see, we are going to be moving now on to a different site, as of course Vex just won there. We're going to be going back upstairs to CEO. This is somewhere that Vexed have struggled to defend so far. They've
lost it twice. They lost it to a bit of a rush from main lobby, but also to a push on north windows as well. So what do Vexed do here? the good thing that MnM have done in changing it up earlier on is not only have they won those rounds for themselves, they've now left Vexed in a situation where they've got absolutely no idea what MnM are going to do to attack this. So all of a sudden they have to watch windows, they have to watch lobby, they have to watch skylight push, and it becomes very difficult. You start getting stretched, you've only got one man on each of those, and then you've got a couple of anchors possibly playing inside, and it becomes much more difficult. So great plays from MnM earlier in the round that are bringing, you know, possibly some unpredictability here. However, let's not write Vexed off whatsoever. That last round was fantastic. It was scruff of the neck stuff. They stepped up, they got the round when they needed it, and that is the ability that we know is present on this Vexed team. They certainly are not out of this yet, and I would still not put it past them to see this go to overtime.
It really has got the potential to go to overtime, and I think the first few picks will be very telling in which way this round is going to go. If you remember last time, Doki and Citizen both had very good success over on North Windows, getting those couple of opening kills, managing to take out the Echo as well, which really opened the site up for them and allowed them to be able to execute. No such early kills this time. Feral will suffer, but Doki there with the kill onto Jesus. That's the smoke through the barricade. I'm not sure if there's some client-side debris there, and he's maybe got a small pixel through the bottom of that barricade, or if he is working off drone information or not, but that's a great opening kill to get for your team.
It's going to tell, I'm sure it's going to tell Vexed if nothing else. As you say, great players from Doki just to set things off. No surprise to see them taking the approach of Citizen and Doki on these North Windows again. It was extremely effective when used last time attacking this site. But that said, Vexed are surviving much better than they did last time. They have lost the smoke, which is some important utility to have off the board. Kendrew's going to move in as the Maverick now and just possibly have an option of opening up these east walls, which he is going to take. Give himself a couple of lines of sight into the site there. He's just going to get a ping and try to hit through the soft wall. Feral, however, will get the kill onto Saves. Doki moves in with a pre-fire and gets a kill onto Zach. So that leaves us now 4 versus 3 in favour of MnM. 4 versus 2 as Doki gets 2. That's a 3K, 4K on the round so far. Can Doki finish things off? He's looking for an ace. He just needs Feral. He is currently just hunkering down in sight. Feral is low health here. MnM 4-1. Surely this is going to be the end of the dream for Vexed, and they are going to be failing to get to the final as Nello looks to move in and plant that diffuser. So that's going to create an additional challenge for Feral here. Doki looking to move behind him. Feral will hear the barbed wire, but Doki finishes it off. What a round from Doki, taking MnM into the final. That was a fantastic fixture.
What a great performance from both of those sides there. Really, really good heads-up plays from either team. Doki there coming out, doing Ash things. Fantastic round for him. You know, you can't ask for much more than that to grab an ace in the final round of the game. So MnM will win their first match up against Vexed. A little bit of a shame for Vexed. They were, of course, in our semi-finals in our finals last year or last season, and you know, maybe a little bit of a lackluster performance from them. I think they could have perhaps done a little bit more. The way that Bank played out with the bans, it just played very differently, and I think both teams were adapting on the fly, and it was a case of which team had the best adaptation. And today that was MnM.
I think you know, we've seen it with Vex. We've commented on it previously. Is just the lack of consistency. Sometimes they don't, you know, they generally play together for this competition, so they don't have a massive strat book to pull from. Whereas MnM obviously have a bit more preparation behind them. So I think that's probably a little bit of what we've seen. But fantastic game for us to watch and cast on. I hope everybody's enjoyed it, and we will pass you back now to our wonderful analysts.
And as you see there, MnM Gaming managed to take that 2-0, and we will be seeing them in the grand final later on. And guys, what were some great plays? We thought Vex may be able to make a few changes here and there to consider it's their map pick, and we know how good they are on Bank, but it just wasn't to be. It just seemed like the same situation, different map.
Well, there is a new main man in town, and his name is Citizen. The guy had an absolutely sublime map. We spoke about it on the last one again, about even at the start of the broadcast, saying he was one of these guys to watch on the team who consistently steps up. Had an absolute blinder of performance there. He's on 13 kills, I think, coming into the final round as well. Top of the leaderboard for his team. Really delivering what we all expected to see from him today, and quite rightly so, the rest of the team as well. Doki doing Doki things in the final round shows you more than enough.
Yeah, I would think back to last season at finals, where we had a clip where Doki was on those exact same windows, and Penguin's like, Doki's not really much of a window player. Gets banged off the window.
See? Not a window player. I remember.
And well, finally, he's proven that he is one.
It did. It was a crazy little peak to find the angle as well. And it looked like it was going to be that kind of ending dream where he picked up every single kill in that round. But he did more than enough work there to make sure they pulled that one back. And it was a very different story in this map because Vexed for a while, especially in the first half, seemed to not so much have their number, but were definitely keeping them guessing with the constant attacks going through into security. MnM, though, you saw them adapt after the first time failed hard. They stacked more people inside of security itself, or CCTV, sorry. And from there, we're just in a great spot to be able to keep on pushing them back, rotating utility very well. And Vex realized then they've adapted. We can't keep on attacking this point anymore. We've got to change things around a bit. And then sites mixed around, and MnM still coming out as the victors.
Yeah, you kind of saw with Vex, there's certain bomb sites there they just literally couldn't do much with. Like, go on, Demo, go on, you're going to say something. You're going to add to that. Go on.
You've got something to say.
Literally, this is a bank that we never really see because hard breachers are usually the way forward. Sure, we might see Habana or a Thermite ban, but it's never really both of them. Whenever you have both of them not available to you, it restricts yourself so much because you only have Maverick. For Maverick and your options, you can either open a hatch or you go up a hole. Typically for that lockers, we know that really you should never lose a defense on that particular bomb site. Yet somehow, we've actually seen Vex win an attack in that, and I really want to pinpoint that round. If you're only limited to a Maverick on that specific bomb site, you either open up that hatch that covers a bomb site, or you open up a hole that you go in for the standard default plant spot. The fact that they could only go for the hole to go for the plant, it meant that that hatch was free reign. That means you can have players from MnM rotate in, they can play behind bomb, which is a very pesky angle to deal with. But MnM didn't realize that was the case. They actually thought that there was holes, but nobody was interested from Vex. They just went all for the plant and went for the cover. So really that round, I think that MnM, they just didn't adapt quick enough. But then, of course, we've seen that follow through. The next round, they had to defend that. Piece of cake.
Yeah.
I will give it to Vex as well. The rounds where they were doing well were ones where they started out trying to clear the top floor. I think in 2 or 3 rounds, we saw them push up there with 3 or 4 men, take down 3 out of MnM super quick. And in fact, you saw the replay a second ago where with the sledge, broke the wall open, the mirror stood there, and it was like, I did not expect Vex to be here so fast. And that's that aggression we keep on speaking about, really coming to bear for them and reminding MnM that actually, if you're not careful, we will catch you off guard. It just didn't happen enough across multiple rounds to be able to take enough rounds to be a serious threat to MnM.
Yeah, that's right. We saw Doki as well, even towards the very end of the last round. You know when you're just feeling it, his cursor placement was just going absolutely on fire. Probably a bit towards the end, it was going feeling like that anyway, but you can tell they're more than prepared and ready for it anyway. You know, you spoke about the unpredictability of Vex and how they're actually going to crack on from there. Didn't really seem to affect them too much. They're way too structured as a high-tier team here. How they do in the grand final against who we see in the next match, that's going to be another story. But to be fair, Vex probably have to work on a few things in the future, I'd probably say.
Namely, practice a little bit might help.
Well,
just a little bit, guys. Come on.
Way
help,
you think that's going to happen?
No, it's not.
You know full well with it.
They turn up just for LAN, you know?
It's what it's for, man.
It's what it's for.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's a really nice piece for MnM as well, especially I think for the coaching team and the back staff as well, who were here at the end of last season when it came around to them losing 2-0 to Vex last time. It's going to feel good, even with a different team being able to pick this victory up here as well. But now, potentially, of course, we'll see how that goes in the next semi-final. Secret might be waiting. That's a team they are struggling to topple. It's going to be a mountain of a task for how they've played so far. There are some things to iron out, but it's going to be one hell of a final if it comes down to that. Of course, Wind and Rain may yet surprise us all.
Well, this is it. We're going to find out that soon, and we do have a bracket to see exactly how things are panning out so far throughout the course of the day here. And as you can see, MnM Game did manage to take that against Vex 2-0. With our next match will be Team Circuit versus Wind and Rain, and that is going to be a very interesting one to say the least. We mentioned before, kind of a David and Goliath kind of matchup. Can Wind and Rain maybe do something about it, or Team Secret Pro League team? We know how good they are. Pro Leagues wise, you know, morale not the best, but there's so many things to talk about during that matchup, especially with both these teams.
There's something in the water for Siege at the moment. I think for the past season and a half, whenever a very small team goes up against a gigantic one, somehow, some way, that little team wins. A momentous one that I can always think of is Trust Gaming versus Team Liquid at DreamHack Winter. Trust Gaming coming in as a team who was from the Benelux, didn't even win their regional championships. Team Liquid, who we know, one of the strongest Brazilian sides, they won Pro League finals in Season 6. And somehow, Trust Gaming walks up, beats them.
So you think it may be, you know...
It's something that I don't know why it happens. It's like Secret beating G2.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's also it's not so much a super weak Secret side, but they have got a sub playing in here as well. Of course, they normally have Funkers on side, but the issue here is you have to have 3 UK players. So they've got Plebber in for this one as well. So if there's going to be a time that Wind and Rain are going to beat them, it's going to be here, and it's going to be today.
Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about in that next match, which we'll go through, you know, because we're here all day anyway, so there's plenty more of action to come now. But we do have an interview with Caroline on the stage, and take it away.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. So I'm joined on the stage now by the coach of MnM Gaming, Gig. Congratulations, you were the first team to go into the finals. Well, I want to talk to you about the games, right? Because they were really, really solid. I mean, you won both maps, they went really well. Why don't you tell me what you think worked really well for you?
I think the main thing that went in our favour was just the organisation. Before every round, at the end of every round, we talked about what we were going to do, what we did wrong, what we did right. Just worked on it as a team, and we have the predetermined things in place just to make us more organised and just to kill them easily. I think throughout the game, we either won or lost in the first minute, and that was just showing how good we were, and a lot of the rounds were quite easily from there.
Perfect. And what do you think you're going to take from the semi-final into the final with you?
I think the main thing is just we're warmed up, we're ready. Played a tougher opponent than Secret, maybe Will, who were the favourites to go into the final, so a bit more of a challenge. Some experience on maps we might play later, so I think we'll take that into the final against them pretty well.
So this is what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, who do you actually want to face in the final? I mean, is it the choice of going with a tougher opponent because you want to beat the best, or maybe trying something a bit different and seeing what happens there?
Well, we have never beat Secret, so to get a chance to play them in the final and beat them would be great. But also to see War there would be great as well. Massive underdog story if they could win and get into the final, so that'd be fun as well, either or.
Okay, well, best of luck in the final later, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you later. It's exciting times. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. We're going to be back after a short break, everybody. Don't go anywhere, though, because our second semi-final will be up next.